Hey, Kevin here, Mr. DIY Dork from DIYDork.com. Right now it's back to school season, and actually it's one of my favorite times of the year because there's such cool supplies in the bargain bins, and you can get some really cool materials to make really awesome projects. So today I want to show you how you can take a pack of colored pencils, turn it into a really awesome coaster. So check this out. I think you're going to like it. Alright, so now we're in my little stand-up work area here, and I want to show you just kind of an idea of what the coaster looks like. And as you can see, it's made from, now I don't know if you can count here, but it's made out of 12 pencils, so it'll take an entire 12 pack of pencils to make one coaster. And there's actually a little thin layer of plastic, and then there's a layer of foam underneath, and it's all glued together. So let me show you real quick what materials I'm actually using. Okay, now of course you need colored pencils, and like I said, you're going to need at least a 12 pack. You get them for like less than $1 right now. You can even get a 24 pack. The brand doesn't matter. Basically, you're going to choose on what colors you want, but a 12 pack is all you need to make one coaster. Okay. Now, I actually found this chopping board here. It's like a really thin, flexible chopping board, and there's actually two in there, and I got them at the Dollar Tree for $1. And this is the plastic that I use to be like the backing plate for all of the colored pencils to be glued on. But the problem is that it's so flexible, and then it would be kind of slick. It might move around when you're actually using it if once your cup gets condensation, all that type of stuff on it. So what I did was I got a pack of foam sheets, and that's what's on the back of this. It's a white one here, but you could use any color that you wanted. And the thing with these is that they're the peel and stick. I got the kind that have adhesive on the back, so that way you can actually stick it to the back side of the plastic and it'll be all one unit. And then once it all dries, it'll be solid. But you want to make sure to use good glue. So I actually have some E6000. It's basically industrial strength craft glue. I mean, you could maybe try hot glue, but I would recommend this. It works really well, but you do have to let it dry for quite a while for it to be strong, but it will work out well. Okay, now the last thing is that I highly, highly recommend getting one of these. Now it's just the plastic piece here. I have it screwed to a board so it's a little easier to hold around, or I can clamp it to a table. But basically this is a mini miter box, okay? And it comes with a mini miter saw. Now the camera probably doesn't show it, but it has like a razor blade that's serrated on the bottom, okay? And you'll be able to cut real easily. Now I'll show you how to use it here in just a second. But these are really cheap. You can get it probably for about $12 to $15. You can get them like a really good combo deal. Like I bought mine separate at Hobby Lobby, and I probably paid close to 20 bucks. But if you get them online, they're probably only about, like I said, 12 to 15. And I actually have a link I can show you where you can get them on Amazon. That you can get this particular one that I actually use. Okay, now if not, and if you actually want to make your own, it takes a little more work, and it might be slightly less accurate, but for a project like this, it'll work totally fine. I actually made a little downloadable tutorial that shows you how to make one of these. And like I said, it's not quite as accurate, but it will work fine for a project like this. But anyway, that's it. Just a saw, some glue, the foam, plastic, and pencils, and that's it. Really simple. First thing I recommend doing is going ahead and chopping your colored pencils down. As you can see, I already have most of them chopped down, but I have one left. And just to kind of give you an idea of how much room you have on these pencils, I don't recommend using the tip here that's been sharpened, just using the actual color rod piece of it. So if I measure it here, you can see we have about 6 1/4 inches of usable space. But what we're actually going to use is 3 pieces out of it that are 1 3/4 inch long. So we need to chop it at 1 3/4, and then another, and then another, and you have a little piece left over that will end up being about this size. I mean, it's just basically scrap. Okay. Now on the little miter box here, if you notice, I got a little board in there, a little piece of wood, like a stop, and I have it clamped in there. So that's something I recommend doing, is measuring out the 1 3/4, so that way all of your cuts will be exactly the same length. So I mean, like I said, it's real simple. Just put a little piece of wood in there, measure from the center. This is the 90-degree cut. You can already see the line here. It'll just cut totally straight, and just measure from there 1 3/4, and then put your stop block. And then all you have to do is, when you put your pencil in there, it'll stop it, right there. And then when you cut it, this piece in there will be exactly 1 3/4 inches. Now, one thing I do recommend doing is, if you notice on colored pencils, they have a little writing on there. Some brands it's gold. This brand from Target has a little white writing. I recommend when you cut to put it face down. because when you're sawing through it, once you get to the bottom, sometimes it kind of just snaps through and there will be like a frayed edge, and you want that to be on the bottom. I can show you real quick. See this piece right here? It's got a little bit of frayed and kind of a nick on there. Hopefully it's shown in the camera, but you're going to want that to be face down on your good pieces, so go ahead and cut them down. So it's real simple. Just put it in there. I make sure the writing's facing down. You take your saw, and with these little razor saws, they only cut when you pull, so you can't do like a regular sawing motion. So it'll take a few passes, but there's one cut, two cuts. It'll probably go on the third or fourth here. There we go, 3 cuts, and then check it out. A nice little clean cut, and it does have a little fraying on there, and actually all of them have fraying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut 2 more, and I'll show you how to take care of that. Okay, now I got all the small pieces chopped down, and what I actually did was I chopped up 8 pencils into the 1 3/4 inch lengths, and then I have 4 pencils left over that's going to make the edge border pieces, as you can see on here, and those have to be a little longer. Those are actually going to be 3 3/4 inch. Now I just thought I'd show you this real quick. On the board, of course, or the miter saw here, of course, it's not quite long enough, so I actually have my stop block way down here, and I did exactly the same thing. I measured from the 90-degree straight cut slot all the way over 3 3/4, and I clamped the stop block down to this board. That's one of the reasons I have the board kind of extended out, so I can go longer if I want. But anyway, now that I have those set at 3 3/4, I can chop them down. I'm only going to use 1 piece off of those to make the outer edge, just like this. And then once that's done, then I'll show you how to get rid of all the fraying. So let me cut that real quick. Okay, now that all my pieces are cut, like I said, it's going to leave a little bit of a frayed edge, so it's real simple. All I'm using is a piece of sandpaper here. Trying to think, this is probably about a 150 grit or so, you know, fairly smooth, but rough enough to get rid of the frayed edge. And all I'm doing is just sanding it off as I'm kind of spinning the piece. And you'll notice whenever it's all gone, it should, you know, slightly round off the end, and you'll see a little bit of exposed wood, but that's okay. It's better than having a frayed edge. And just do that to all the pieces. It'll take a few minutes, but once they're done, they'll be ready to go. And then we can start working on the base. So there we go. That one's all cleaned up now, and all the frayed parts are gone.